everyone, it's Reen from embroiderygarden.com. Today I'm going to show you how to take the applique placement lines from an applique design, turn them into cut lines so that your ScanNCut can cut the applique pieces for you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load my design onto my Dream Machine, and I'm going to pick my Gingerbread Man. I'm going to go ahead and hit set. Now I got to go up to Edit, and I'm going to click the little icon that looks like a spool of thread. So now what I need to do is scroll through the design and find the 3 placement stitches. The Gingerbread Man has 3 applique parts to him. One is his body, the second one is the rolling pin, and the third one is his hand. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here and start scrolling through the design to find all those pieces. Okay, here's the first placement line for the Gingerbread Man. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here to the color palette. I'm going to pick the little square that looks like it has a pair of scissors on it. And you can see that is the cut line, and it changed the color of the placement line to the applique color. So I'm going to keep scrolling down until I find the next one. And this is the placement line for the rolling pin. Again, I'm going to come down here to the bottom, click the little pair of scissors, and it changes the color to the applique cut. I got to keep scrolling through the design because I need to find the hand. And I know that this is the hand right here. Again, I'm going to come down to the scissors, click it. Whoops, I clicked the wrong one. Okay, now it's the applique color. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And then I'm going to click Memory. Okay, I've got a USB in the side of my machine, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the USB, and it saved that to the USB stick. So next I'm going to get my fabric hooped up, and I'm going to go over to the ScanNCut and get ready to cut the fabric. I decided to put my Gingerbread Man on this little placemat. The idea is to have my Gingerbread Man embroidered on it and maybe put a plate of cookies over here on the side. This placemat I got several years ago from All About Blanks, and you can go to their website to see if they still have them. If not, they might have something comparable. I am using my Monster Snap hoop. This is a brand new hoop that I got from Designs Machine Embroidery. It's a magnetic hoop, and it's the 8x8. I've got some cutaway hooped along with my placemat. And I print out a template of whatever I'm going to be stitching so I can get the placement. So here's my template that I printed out. I decided where I wanted to place them. I want to place them about right here. And so I used one of my snowman marking stickers. I figured out where the center was, and I lined that center up with the center of the Gingerbread Man. So now I'm going to take it to my Dream Machine. I'm going to let the camera scan the hoop so it can find the center and know exactly where I want my Gingerbread Man to stitch. Okay, I've got my Gingerbread Man loaded. I haven't moved it since I did got the applique pieces out for the ScanNCut. So I'm going to go ahead now and hit Embroidery. And I'm going to go up into Edit. I'm going to hit the Snowman. It's going to ask if it's okay to revert to the original position and or angle. Say OK. Now it's going to be ready to scan. It's going to say the carriage is going to move. That's OK. And now it's going to recognize and find the snowman. You can see it moving around. It's recognizing it. It's found it, and it says to remove the positioning mark. So I'll go ahead and I'll take the little positioning mark off. And I'm going to hit OK, and now I'm ready to start embroidering. And the first thing that's going to stitch is the knobs for the rolling pin. So I'm going to get this going and then go over to the ScanNCut and start cutting out the applique pieces that I saved to the USB stick earlier. Okay, I'm over at my ScanNCut machine, and I'm getting ready to cut the applique pieces out from the fabric. I have the USB stick that I saved the cut files onto from my Dream Machine in the side of the ScanNCut machine. The ScanNCut machine is on. I'm going to go ahead and hit Pattern. The files that I want to get are saved data because they are on the USB stick. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit the USB stick. Whenever you save something from the Dream Machine, it makes its own little folder and it calls it the B pocket. So I'll go ahead and click on the B pocket. Here's the Gingerbread Man that we got the cut files from. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And now you can see the 3 different cut files that we saved, the Gingerbread Man, the rolling pin, and his hand. So the first one selected, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit Set, and it brings it up onto the mat. Now I'm going to click Add because I need to get the other pieces on. So I'm going to hit the rolling pin, hit OK, hit Set. The rolling pin is there, and I need to get the hand. So I'm going to click Add, get the hand, hit OK, and hit Set. Now I've got all 3 pieces on there. I'm going to have to enlarge these pieces just a little bit because these outlines are the actual cut line, and we want our pieces cut just a smidge bigger so that it covers that placement line in the design. So you got to move them away from the side of the mat because they won't increase in size if they're up next to the edge of the mat. Okay, so now one of them selected, you can see the box around it. I'm going to go into the editing screen. I'm going to go into the size screen, and I'm going to increase it. Let's go 1, 2, 3 clicks and hit OK. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the rolling pin, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go into the resize button, and I'm going to hit the size to increase it 3 times. Hit OK. I'm going to select the Gingerbread Man, go to the resize, 1, 2, 3, hit OK. And now I've got all my pieces sized. And here you can see the fabric I'm going to use for the Gingerbread Man and his hand and for the rolling pin. Now, if you look at these pieces, again, here's my printed template, and these are kind of big applique pieces. They must be at least 4 or 5 inches high, and they've got some width to them. So what I did for these pieces is on the back side, I ironed on some light easy steam 2. Now this is just because of the size of these pieces. If these were all small pieces, like the size of his hand, I probably wouldn't iron this double-sided fusible onto the back of it. But I don't want any puckering in my applique, so that's why I put this double-sided fusible and ironed it onto the back of the pieces. Then I put the pieces on my mat. I just put them anywhere I wanted. Now, to make sure that these pieces do not shift or move, I use my favorite tape, this 3M Transport medical tape. I love this tape. I use it for all my in the hoop designs, and I always tell stores that I teach at, this is the tape I want to use. So all I did was take a few pieces and taped it down well at the corners to make sure that the fabric doesn't shift on me at all. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my mat, load it up, hit the load button, and I'm going to, I'm done with the screen here, so I'm going to hit OK. This button here will scan the mat because I want to know where my fabrics are. So go ahead and scan. You start the scan, and all it's doing is scanning the mat. This is so that I know where to place those cut files so that I have them centered exactly on the fabric how I want them to be. Okay, here's the mat after it's scanned, and I know it's a little bit hard to see, but here's my Gingerbread Man, and I'm going to pull him up into the fabric, the tan fabric here. I'm going to find my little hand, and this is it here, and I'm going to bring it over, maybe cut it about right in here, and here's my rolling pin, and I'm going to put it on the red check fabric. Now, whenever you cut anything, you always want to do a test cut, no matter if it's fabric, if it's vinyl, whatever you're cutting, paper, cardstock, you should always do a test first because each machine is different, and the settings that I use may not be the exact settings that you need to use. So I'm going to click Add. I'm going to go back to Pattern, and I'm going to click Test because I want to add the test cut. You can pick any one of these four. I'm just going to pick the triangle and hit Set. And here it is. It's way up here in the corner. So I'm going to drag it down here to somewhere in this area of the brown fabric. And I'm going to hit OK. Now the machine knows to do that test cut first. It's going to try cutting the test cut first before it cuts any of the other pieces, even though I put the other pieces on before the test. Okay, the settings I used. It's, like I said, it's going to vary. Here you go into your cut settings. I've got a cut speed of 1. I've got the cut pressure at 1. So I hit OK. My blade. I'm going to start with my blade at 4.5. So I've turned the blade all the way past 12. I'm going to come back to about 4.5, maybe even a little bit more than that. Okay, I'm going to put my blade back in, and I'm not using the fabric blade. I can't find mine right now, so I'm just using the regular cut blade. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get ready to cut, so I'm going to hit Cut, and I'm going to hit Start. And it's going to cut that test cut first, so we'll see how it does. I can see where it's cut. Now this tool, the spatula, this metal spatula, is the handiest thing to have, especially when you're cutting fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this up just to see, make sure that it cut well. And I can see that it cut through everything. The piece is very small, so it kind of misshapened it, but that's okay. I know that it cut. That's what I'm trying to go for. And if you can see, I'll kind of pull the mat up a little bit. You can see right here where the triangle cut out. So I think I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to go ahead now, and it's going to cut the pieces, the 3 pieces for the gingerbread man. It's going to cut the body first, then it will cut either the hand or the rolling pin next, and once it does that, and I get them off the mat, I'll be good to go. It'll take it a couple of minutes. Now it's doing the hand. Okay, looks like it's done. I'm going to unload the mat, and I'm going to get ready to take the pieces off the mat. Okay, like I said, I did tape it down. So you can see how well it cut my the rolling pin fabric. And like I said, this is where this little little metal thin spatula comes in handy, because you can just get right underneath it and pull it up. And look how nice it cut the rolling pin applique. And like I said, I have that steam seam on the back side, and when I'm ready, I'm going to pull that paper off of the back side so that it's a little bit sticky, so when I put it down on my in the applique placement line, it'll lay nice and flat with no puckering. So let me go ahead and get the gingerbread man up. And so you can see how easy it was then to grab the cut files from the design, bring them over to the ScanNCut, and cut them. So here's my little hand. Get the mat out of the way. Hopefully you can see there's the hand, there's the rolling pin, and let me get this one out. This one looks like it didn't cut all the way, it didn't cut it all the way through that paper. So let me grab my scissors here and just kind of finish cutting it out. And actually, see what happened was I didn't get my fusible quite down far enough, but this is going to be fine. I'm going to take this, peel it off so I have the double-sided fusible, and I'm going to get ready to go and place this onto my design, and I'll show you how that works, and we'll stitch it out. Okay, I've stitched the first step of my gingerbread applique, and that was the knobs for the rolling pin. So I'm ready now. I've stitched out the placement line for the gingerbread. I'm peeling the backing off of the gingerbread, and I'm going to place this piece right over the placement line. So let me get it in place. The good thing about this fusible is that it is also repositionable. So if I don't get it exactly right the first time, I can move it and get it exactly where I want it. So I've got it placed over the placement area, and I'm going to do my tack down stitching next. Okay, I just got done stitching the tack down. You can see how nicely the stitching caught all the way around the applique piece. Looks perfect. I'm going to try to move it up a little bit more so you can see it a little bit better. Can I turn it a little bit? But it caught it perfectly. So the next step in the design is going to do the satin stitch edge around the gingerbread man. Then it's going to be time to place the rolling pin. And I will do the rolling pin exactly the same way. When it stitches the placement line, I'll peel the paper from the back, I'll stick it down, and then I'll do the tack down and continue on with the design, and then do the same thing when it comes time to put the hand in. I'm going to finish my design, and I'll be back to show you it completed.